Carmine Persico, the then boss of the Colombo Crime Family, was just 2 years into his prison sentence of over 100 years when he demonstrated his sense of humour to journalist and author Jerry Capeci. Let's check it out. Welcome to OC Shorts, bringing you detailed historical snapshots of the American Mafia and other organised crime. Feel free to subscribe if you like that sort of thing. Today, we're going to take a quick look at a letter that the imprisoned Carmine Persico sent to journalist Jerry Capeci, where he showcased his sense of humour, despite being incarcerated for the remainder of his natural life. Carmine Persico was only a couple of years into his sentence of over 100 years from the commission case, and also the Colombo family's Star Quest trial, when he penned a letter to Jerry Capeci, responding to one of the journalist's articles. Persico's letter read, "Hello Jerry. Hey, I thought we were all right. So why are you making me older than I really am? You made me 57 years old. I'm only 55 and will be 56 on August the 8th. Don't rush these years past me. I'll need my youth to be able to finish this 100 years I have to do. And if you keep treating me bad and making these mistakes about me, I'll have to start reading Pete Hamill's column, and you won't be the famous Jerry Capeci in my book anymore. Stay well, Carmine Junior Persico." Persico demonstrating that even whilst serving a sentence that would mean he would die in prison, the Colombo family boss still had a sense of humour. A couple of years later, in 1991, Persico wrote a more serious letter to Capeci. The journalist and author had written a piece which credited Persico with being one of the shooters in the assassination of Albert Anastasia in 1957. In this letter, Carmine Persico wrote the line, "You inaccurately associated my name with the Anastasia assassination." One of the reasons that people had believed that Carmine Persico was one of the gunmen in the famous mob hit was because Persico had once told government informant Fred de Christopher the following: "That fag Joey Gallo took the credit, but I hurt Anastasia." However, as we see in Persico's letter to Jerry Capeci, he appears to backtrack on his own previous claim. There is further supporting evidence that Persico was not one of the shooters in the Anastasia hit. Carmine Persico was 24 years old at the time of the famous barbershop murder. However, eyewitness accounts state that the killers were much older, in their 40s. Manicurist Gene Weinberger would state, "One shooter was a white male, around 40 years old, 5 feet 10, with a slight build and a blonde pompadour haircut. The second shooter was additionally a white male, around 45 years old, stockily built, and about 5'7". It would appear that Jerry Capeci took Persico's statement about being inaccurately associated with the Anastasia assassination on board, as a few years later, Capeci would publish a theory that the killers of Anastasia came from within Anastasia's family, and not Persico or Crazy Joe Gallo. Capeci would state that the primary shooter was a mobster called Stevie Coogan Grimalta. This is supported by FBI files from the early 1960s that came from information from Gambino soldier turned informant Alfredo Sant'Antonio. Sant'Antonio was in the crew of Gambino captain Charles Dongara. The FBI document states that the main architects behind the Anastasia murder were Joseph RIccobono, Joe Biondo, and Charles Dongara. The file reads, "Anastasia was going to kill Joseph RIccobono, Joseph Biondo, and Charles Dongara. Joseph Franco, a captain in this family and a close friend of Anastasia, learned of the plans to kill these 3 individuals and told them. Consequently, these 3 individuals plus Andrew Alberti, Joseph Gallo from 34th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenues NYC, Steve Grimalta and Joe Cahill, not a member of the family but highly respected, got together and decided to kill Anastasia. Cahill and Grimalta were given the contract. It was known that Anastasia frequented the barbershop at the Park Sheraton Hotel, NYC. The guns were in the hotel room of Johnny Busso, a fighter and nephew of Johnny Connecticut, John Busso. Cahill and Grimalta went to the hotel, got the guns, shot Anastasia, and caught the subway and went home. Sometime after the shooting, Joseph RIccobono telephoned the owner of the liquor store on 78th Street, NYC, who is at the present time the collector of Gambino's assessments, and told him that someone in his, Riccobono's family, had done the shooting, without naming names. This liquor store owner knew all the captains and he was to pass the word along. Riccobono advised Thomas Lucchese and VIto Genovese that someone in his family had killed Anastasia. Riccobono requested a meeting be held so he could explain about the shooting. There was a meeting held in New Jersey, and those present were Lucchese, VIto Genovese, Riccobono, Joseph Biondo, Charles Curry, Tony Anastasia, Johnny Roberts, Thomas Rava, Carmine Galante, and numerous others. The meeting was held at Richie's farm, possibly Richie Boiardo, in New Jersey. Riccobono advised those at the meeting the reason Anastasia had been killed, without identifying the killers, and stated if he had been wrong in doing so, they could hold him responsible. At this meeting, in substance to trial, all responsible parties were pardoned, including Cahill and Grimalta. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting. Thanks for watching.